Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of our guests today, including Jamie McLennan standing by, are sponsored by Passant Motors, BC's most trusted car dealership, located in the heart of Surrey, with great financing rates, guaranteed approvals, and open 7 days a week. Learn more at Passant Motors, BASANTmotors.com. Just before we get to Jamie Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox, unsigned, please sign your text, folks. Other teams making their roster worse so they can tank down the stretch. Canucks playing Demko for the third time this week, coming off injury. What are we doing? Does no one in the organization have any common sense? Is the playoff push on? Again, unsigned. Yeah. That had some heat. Yep. We want to give you credit. Joined now by Jamie McLennan. Noodles, TSN. Long time no see, long time no hear from. How are you, sir?
Good. How's everybody doing out there?
Very well, very well. A lot of people pleased about the Leafs result on Saturday, but let's focus on what I just read about, the text I just read, Jamie. Thatcher Demko. Have you seen enough of him? And we want to focus on goaltenders with you. Have you seen enough of him in the 3 games since he returned from injury to notice a difference in him versus the start of the season?
Well, he looks more comfortable and confident. Obviously, that game against the Leafs the other night, that's the Thatcher Demko I think that we all have watched and seen the standard that he has set for himself. I'm not shy saying this. I'm quite bullish on him as well. I think I've said it to you guys before, is I believe he's going to win a Vezina at some point in his career. He's that good of a goaltender. He has that much talent. Didn't have a great start to the season, obviously a longer injury than everybody expected. But the last couple of games, he's come back and he's hit the ground running. He looks comfortable in the net. He looks like the Thatcher Demko, I guess, from the bubble even. I mean, how good his positioning is, how calm he is in the net, fighting for pucks. And if he had any type of nagging injury before, he looks comfortable in his own skin right now. So I heard before you brought me on, the fan base going, why are you playing this guy and he's stealing games for us? I feel your frustration because I've said this before. He will never allow that team to bottom out. He's too good. He will give his team a chance to win every night. So that's the multi-million-dollar question when it comes to the spine of the Vancouver Canucks. You've got Pettersson, who's having an amazing career season. JT Miller, his game has pockets to it. We all know what Quinn Hughes is, and we all know what Thatcher Demko is when he's capable of playing. So the spine looks pretty good, but it's what you fill around the spine with Kuzmenko. I always butcher his name.
Yeah, Kuzmenko, good. Yep.
He's a player. So they've got some guys, but it's kind of everybody around that where you're questioning and struggling with. But when it comes to Demko, he's been unbelievable when he's healthy, and we saw it the other day on the weekend.
Let's stick with the Canucks, Jamie. I'll put you on the spot. How much do you know about new Canuck? He hasn't played for Vancouver yet, Filip Hronek. And did you understand that move from a Canuck point of view because it screamed present rather than future?
Well, a little bit of both. And I actually watched him live twice, back-to-back in Ottawa the other day when they had the makeup game. I've watched him several times. He's got a big shot from the point. He's a point producer. He's strong on his stick. Is that the move moving forward at 25 years old? I think he's got another year or two on his deal, I believe, off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. But is that the guy to play with Hughes? Did they find somebody, a right-handed shot that has some stability to his game but can advance the puck and be a different dynamic from the back end? I think it screams of now, but also the future, just where his age is. I think he's 25 years old, so he's kind of in that trainer, right? So when I looked at that, it made me pause to think, okay, are they moving backwards? Are they moving forward? Or are they just status quo trying to fill some of the gaps? And I can understand if a player of that magnitude is available, but it also asks me to question, what is the vision for the front office? That would be my question to you. Are you trying to bottom out, Or are you trying to make the playoffs? Or are you just trying to make your team better as you go along and pick up some pieces and add to what I talked about earlier, the spine of the group, and hopefully they're healthy and have great seasons next year. So that would be my question to Jim Rutherford, Patrick Alvin, is like, where do you believe this team is going to be in 18 months? And if you're trying to add to it, Hronek's a nice add. If you're trying to take a step back, then that move didn't make sense.
Jamie, the trade deadline's over. So many teams loaded up in the East. But Craig Button said on the weekend, no one's going to beat Boston. Are you with him?
Hard to argue against that. I mean, now it was like vanity purchases at the deadline, where I know Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno's health is in some question there. Both of them are out for extended lengths of time. But if you assume they're coming back, then Tyler Bertuzzi was just kind of adding into a scenario where you already had some depth. Orlov has hit the ground running. I would argue that's the best defensive core in the National Hockey League, because you've got three guys that could pretty much be number ones on any team. You've got Orlov, Lindholm, and McAvoy. And then you throw in a guy like Brandon Carlo as a four. Man, that's a four-pack that is pretty impressive. Greshalik on the other side. When you look at that whole group, they're pretty impressive. Clifton on the right side. I think Derek Forbort is their number 7. Mm-hmm. So, the depth there. I always say, if you take Boston or do you take the field, I still bet on the field, not because I don't believe what Boston's doing. It's just, is it a perfect season for them? Are they going to go pillar to post without, and I wouldn't say adversity, because, Pasternak being out, Marchand and McAvoy being out at the start of the season, coming back off of injuries. Coming into the season, I don't know where you guys felt, but we didn't know that Bergeron was going to come back. We didn't know that David Krejci was going to come back. So it almost looked like when they released that statement in the summer going, McAvoy and Marchand are having surgeries, they're going to be out for extended length of time. I think we all said, okay, the window's closed. Boston's going to have to retool. Well, that hasn't been the case. They've hit the ground running, Pasternak having a career season. So I believe in Boston, but I also believe that there are some other teams in the East that are going to really make it difficult for them, and Carolina being one of them, the Rangers, whoever wins with Tampa, Toronto. So there's some depth there, but man, there's no weaknesses in that lineup whatsoever.
Speaking of Tampa Bay, boy, did they catch everyone's attention on Saturday. Head coach John Cooper benching his 3 best players, Kucherov, Point, and Stamkos, for an entire period. What were your thoughts when you saw that, Jamie?
I think that's a long time coming. When you look at John Cooper and his relationship with his players, like you only have a certain amount of bullets in your chamber. And when I look at Tampa and their body of work the last 3 years, no wonder they're bored in the regular season. They're just trying to make it through it. Now they're slotted in the 3-hole. You're going to battle Toronto basically for home ice advantage. But, that being said, on a Tuesday night, against a non-division opponent, are you excited about it or not? And I'm just hypothetically saying, those guys, I think, are a team that knows how to turn it on and when to turn it on. So it's hard for Cooper to keep their attention night in and night out. And it was probably some stuff that creeped into their game where he finally had to say, all right, enough's enough. I'm going to put my foot down here. We're going to have a reset. Now, watching that game yesterday, it wasn't a reset. There was not a reaction. If anything,
right.
What were the shots? I think they had 4 shots after, close halfway through the second or after the second. It was terrible. But I was more concerned about the Hedman injury, and then Kucherov blocks a shot. They're just trying to make it through right now. But it was certainly a statement from a veteran coach, and I think it was more something that was building up, that he wanted to just kind of put his foot down and say, all right, boys, I'm watching here. Let's knock it off.
Looks like Hedman hurt his back. Hey, Jamie, goaltending. Jonathan Quick gets his first start and first win with Vegas, 25 saves against the Habs. How much has he got left? Can he help the Vegas Golden Knights?
I think he can on pedigree alone. And you don't have to start him every game down the stretch here. What you do is get him comfortable and give him an opportunity to run into the playoffs, because he knows how to play. He was fantastic against Edmonton last year in the playoffs. McDavid just grabbed that team and put him on his back. One storyline I am tracking, I don't know how you guys would feel about this. How ironic would it be if LA and Vegas played in the playoffs that first round?
Yeah.
I think you'd get the best of Jonathan Quick, and he would be a man possessed trying to beat that team. So watching him yesterday, he looked pretty good. They got a little comfortable lead to let him back into it a little bit, but I think he's got enough in the tank for what they're looking for at 37 years old. And it's not to be the one, but it's to be the one at the right time for them. And that's bringing that Stanley Cup playoff pedigree to that organization where Logan Thompson doesn't have it, Aiden Hill doesn't have that pedigree deep into the playoffs. So he's a nice piece and a nice ad. They didn't pay much. They paid pennies on the dollar for him.
Former Columbus Blue Jacket, Jonathan Quick. Hey, Jamie, we got to get you back again soon. It's been too long. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. Great to see you. We'll chat soon.